5 Premier League wins in a row, up to 4th, closing in on Chelsea with games in hand. It was a test today against Leicester City, Janusz Michallik. It was a test. They passed with flying colours, wasn't it, for Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be other tests, right? I mean, midweek Liverpool and then, Villa as well. But that's what happens. No longer under the radar, as you and I have talked about after they beat Watford, I suppose. And yes, it's wonderful to watch. What have you done, Mark, with the Arsenal? I mean, we've had so much negativity over the years that it's great to see now a team, that's hungry, right? I mean, you look at Arsenal in this performance, hungry players playing with a, I want to say smile on their face, but I mean, they're looking forward to that. And, I looked at the statistics and they were outpossessed, which is not your normal Arsenal teams of old, but I think it's a positive, isn't it? I mean, attempts on goal were like 21-8, on target 8-3. They just don't linger. They win the ball, they get into the attack, they send numbers forward. As I've said, they're hungry, they want to win, they want to create scoring opportunities. So again, more of the same from last week in terms of praise for Arsenal, because everything that they're doing right now, they deserve.
Someone else who's no longer under the radar and should never have been, because he's been an outstanding signing, is Martin Ødegaard. Another fantastic performance.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many again here, and I just think it's momentum. It's the environment that's created, the goals that are set, right? And once you start accomplishing them, it just comes easier, because I think he's never been doubted. Remember how young he was when he was already on the radar of Real Madrid and many other big clubs. And with that comes pressure, responsibility, that feel that every player has when you're young. I want to play. Well, but it's Real Madrid. Look who's there. So I think that, he just found a spot where, there's other young players around him. Like you look at Saka, look at Martinelli, look at all those players that seem to be on the same page. It's sometimes hard to explain because, yes, I mean, that confidence oozes out of him. When you see him on the ball, the extra circle around, the extra look, the no-look pass from time to time. We haven't seen that in the past, but when things are going well, that happens very often.
They've not looked back since Aubameyang left, and this is the Arsenal that surely now finishes in the top 4, don't they, with the games they've got in hand? Because the way they're playing right now and the consistency, they're better than Manchester United and West Ham, aren't they?
Yes, they are. As I said, I mean, there's going to be a test every week right now. You can't take anything for granted. You still have to win those games, right? We'll see how they deal with a setback, for example. I'm not saying that they're going to lose to Liverpool, but they're not going to be favorites. A Villa away, it's not going to be easy. But you know what I also saw, how do you deal with that? I even see Arsenal dealing with the game differently within the phases of the game, right? The game management. I'm sure you've noticed that after a tremendous start, right? I mean, they've got that confirmation in terms of the first goal from a set piece. And then I think after 25th minute, Leicester took over. They settled a little bit and the game shifted. But there was no panic in this Arsenal team, right? You often expect them in the past to maybe lose their way. You think that young players can... that can happen to them very often, but that wasn't the case. And, some key saves from Aaron Ramsdale on Harvey Barnes, right? I mean, that header, my goodness, how he saved that. And in between, there were moments that good teams, of course, will dominate you for a little bit, or they'll recover. Leicester City have done that. We knew because they have the quality. I'm sure there are going to be some hairy moments against Liverpool. It's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that pressure as well. So, another clean sheet, something we haven't talked about in the past all that often. Just so many good performances. Aaron Ramsdale, of course, Ben White's been tremendous. Look, we don't even talk about Granit Xhaka.
No.
And I felt for him in the past because I think the burden of that midfield, maybe the captaincy in the past, was on his shoulders. And he couldn't just really do it all by himself. Well, he doesn't have to do it by himself right now. Thomas Partey is a different players, and Ødegaard and others take that responsibility away. And he's been quietly good.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about unsung heroes. Thomas Partey is one of them. And he scored the opening goal after 11 minutes. But you just wonder, you can forgive Leicester for a lot of things because of the injuries. After 5, 6, 7 goals conceded from a corner, you're thinking, surely they've got to learn. After 8, 9, 10 goals conceded from a corner, you're thinking they're not learning. And this is now double digits. They concede from a corner again. Why are they not learning, Leicester?
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to do. I'm sure Brendan Rodgers knows about it. I mean, these statistics have been thrown at him, every chance possible. He knows it himself. I'm sure they train on it. It's an individual responsibility. It doesn't matter if it's a man-to-man. It doesn't matter if it's a zone. It doesn't matter if it's a combination. You have got to win your individual battles. And we see Thomas Partey coming to the near post. I mean, great delivery in terms of pace, but came in between two players. Somebody didn't. I think it was Ricardo Pereira. Maybe I think that was close to him. It's so difficult to explain that sometimes, and it's also. It's incredibly difficult to do that in training because you can never be truly live, right? When you do that in training, I remember as a player, you go in against your own teammates. You sometimes don't want to go too hard, for challenges. You kind of, you shadow play, if you will, but there's no shadow playing when it comes to it, right? You can't be near enough somebody. You've got to be in their face. You've got to put a body on that, and that's hard. So it's just you have to go up to the players and hold them responsible. There's no other way. You have to call the players out every time. And if they don't listen, you've got to find somebody else that will do the job.
Are we seeing for Leicester City just how important Jamie Vardy is, the difference when he plays and when he doesn't?
There's zero doubt. There's zero doubt. And, that's good. It's always good to know that at some stage he comes back. But I also don't think that you want that sort of a dependency on a player as well. But, I mean, he's one of the very few that understands how to get behind better than many, many others, right? I mean, there's some great strikers with great names, but what he does in terms of holding that line and getting there, it's almost as if, for example, I've said that before, James Maddison and Tielemans, when they play, they blindly send that ball because they know he's going to make that run, and he stretches defenses because he's not just a central player. He goes left, he goes right, he can score, he can assist, so he is super important. We had a great example when he was briefly back from his injury, right, already scoring and causing problems.
Finally, let's end with the team that picked up all 3 points and have been so impressive of late with 5 consecutive wins in the Premier League. It's no longer about looking what's around them and what's below them, is it? It's about looking upwards and trying to finish third and catch Chelsea. And with 2 games in hand, they can get closer if they win them, albeit one of them is against Liverpool.
Yeah, I think not that they will, but there's still reason to look below them, right? I mean, I don't think for Arsenal it makes it that much of a difference if they finish third or fourth, for as long as they finish there. But even they're overwhelming favorites, that's for sure. But Mark, we've seen that battle for fourth, right? In Manchester United, West Ham, Arsenal, Spurs. We had so many teams that came close, and just as we think they're going to stay there, they fall apart. So I don't think Mikel Arteta and Arsenal are going to be taking anything for granted because, as I said, momentum is a wonderful thing when it works for you. And this is certainly the time for Arsenal. But imagine, losing to Liverpool and say Villa, everybody gets nervous, especially young players.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.